What we got online?
Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidi.
Wa alaikum salam rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, thank you about teaching about how the masjids are really the hearts of people and not to break anyone's heart. Thank you.
Thank you. That's when people don't have to worry about going to a masjid. So I have to go, I have to go, I have to go. No, you don't have to go. Make your own heart your masjid and make it beautified and ornate with the salawats and the love of Sayyidina Muhammad. And to make that masjid to be beatific and pure, sometimes you have to just stay away from other people who will put hypocrisy and difficulty. At the beginning of Ramadan, the sincere people, oh Shaykh, there's confusion of when the month starts. There's no confusion for us because we look to a different moon. When Prophet said, look for the moon, well that's a isharat for dunya people, and for heavenly people they see a different moon. So there's no confusion. When the people of the heart they look to their qamar, to their moons, when they see their moon shining from the reality of their heart, the tajalli is already dressing them. So they don't need an outside confirmation of people whom already are blind. They want the blind to tell us when something starts and when it ends. They miss every holy night because their bus leaves either early or took off too late. Imagine traveling like that, where we all have to be Wednesday at a certain location. They got at the wrong time and they got off at the wrong time. And all these events they're leaving because they're Ahl dunya. But when you become Ahlul Basira and the people of the heavens and the people of illumination, you close your light, you close your eyes, the moon is shining in front of you. Because the one whom brings all tajallis is illuminating the hearts of people with lights and tajallis. That's why they begin to cry, because the rain has already begun to pour upon their hearts. That's when Ramadan starts. And they have the hikmah of their awliya that if you start early on Ramadan, alhamdulillah, you'll be rewarded with the last fasting of Shaban. There's no bid'ah. You say, I was early. Congratulations, because you were supposed to fast the last day of Shaban and giving the farewell of Shaban. What did you miss? But they want to argue about everything. They're already blind. Three blind mice, three blind mice, three blind mice. They're just arguing, but say, but you're still blind. All this arguing, did it help you? No. But the hikmah of awliya was, okay, can be imagined. Mawlana Shaykh was, who cares? You fasted Shaban, you got the reward. Yeah. Can you fast during Eid? No, they're all celebrating. Why are you you're not going to miss anything. So, alhamdulillah, that following the way of awliya and the way of the heart. Imagine a day when the skies become darkened and they can't see anything. We said that the concept of Dajjal is he brings a magic, right? It makes his magic show starts. Why? With zulm. Zulm means darkness. Where the world is cast into a darkness, maybe the sun will be covered because of clouds and disasters they brought. What happens now in the zulm or in darkness? The magic comes out. If you took your life to be only physical through your physical eyes, I can't see anything, Shaykh. But that's not what we prepared for. We prepared and told you that you should have lived a life with your eyes closed. So whether they close the lights or you're already trained to work with the lights off, and your whole life is, oh, so their show is beginning, let's go. Your eyes closed and you see better in the dark than you saw with your eyes open, inshaAllah. So they train the samurai. They would put these things on. You have to fight with your eyes closed, not with your eyes open. Anyone can fight with their eyes open.
Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidi.
That's next level muraqabah. Yes. Zishan will stand, I will close my eyes and if I was good, alhamdulillah. If not, then Shaheed. Have you seen that one? Where the was a kendo. Master sits with a blade. The student's in front of him. And as soon as he pulls back, swings, the student already ducked. Yeah. So Allah made it easy. He gave us kebabs and baklava. So, no, your path is not going to be like that. I'm going to make your path kebabs and baklava.
Allahu Akbar.
Every time you made a mistake, you'd be losing fingers, limbs, everything. Inshallah, what do we got?
Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidi.
Wa alaikum salam.
So can you speak of the second 10 days of Ramadan?
Was that before we talked?
Yeah. I guess.
It was spiritual. Yeah, they gave it to you. Maghfirah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidi.
Wa alaikum salam.
Sheikh, is there a way to feel the fire of Jahannam in this life in order to get a better adab and akhlaq and keep a pure heart?
Inshallah. Itkum min an-nar, that'll be the last 10 days. So the meditation in the last 10 days of Ramadan, itkum min an-nar, when Allah Azza wa Jal is granting the servant, now that I have forgiven you, set your grave in order. And that's why the itikaf for many people whom don't practice meditation, don't have any spiritual program, Ramadan, Allah tied their legs, you know, they're fasting, they can't eat, so it's meant to slow people down. The life of the people whom purposely already trying to slow everything down, then they understood that when they meditate, when they contemplate, these are times to think of death, think of my condition in my grave. Itkum min an-nar is a time in which to think of the condition of the grave and that my grave is on fire, because everyone, their grave is in a bad condition unless they have received their certificate that Prophet ﷺ is happy with them. As a result, when we visualize that my grave is in difficulty, and how am I going to endure the difficulty of the grave, the torture and the punishment of the grave, and awliyaullah came into our lives, says there is no way for you to endure the punishment of the grave. And the secret of your relief from punishment is that you have to have conditioned yourself to make lots of salawat, so that if difficulty comes and death comes, that you have to make your salawats praising upon the reality of Prophet until they saw the presence of Sayyidina Muhammad enter into their qabr. And as a result of the shining light of Prophet looking into their grave, all punishment begins to stop. Allah will not punish the servant while the nazar in the presence of Prophet is there to intercede for the servant. And that's what Allah wanted. So it's not that Allah is getting manipulated by this, but it's what He wants. He says, are you not understanding you're going to get punished? Let me give you a little taste of it. And you start to have a horrific experience. And then they inspire within your heart, make your durood, make your salawat. And as a result of their salawat, because they experience it in seclusion, 40 days seclusion, the first seclusion was all about the punishment of the grave. And as soon as they were making their salawats, relief came into the grave. The light of Prophet came into the grave. And this is why they come out from that reality teaching people, oh, you don't know what's waiting for you. If you think you're going to go in and try to resolve this yourself, you are in great, great danger, because the intensity of that flame and that difficulty will only intensify. The more arrogant you become, the more intense that punishment and fire will become, until tap out, until the person at some point is going to realize this is not working, because Allah is not happy with the conclusion that the person has. So something in their being or an inspiration will come from the angels that, do you remember what you were taught or what you understood? Praise upon His most beloved servant. Why? Because everyone is in need of the intercession of Prophet. So if you don't do what Allah wants, you think He gives you relief? No. It's like a father saying, okay, I need you to do this, I'm not going to do it. Okay, we're going to do 1 day, 2 days it's going to get more punishment, 10 days is going to be even much more punishment, because it seems like you're trying to prove something else to me. So Allah is going to get what Allah wants. What Allah wants is people to have the intercession of Sayyidina Muhammad. So they'll wait until the punishment becomes more intensified, and the rahmah of Allah is if He sends angels or sends an inspiration, sends a loved one like a relative, somebody familiar to that person that visits them while they're being punished and says, you have to make salawat upon Prophet. And at that time they'll remember, and that time they begin to praise. But those whom are under the shaykhs and the tarbiyah of the shaykhs, they threw into seclusion, not understanding these realities, and started to witness punishing. And as much as they're trying to understand the punishing and the difficulty, nothing. And all they can remember is go back into your madad, ask for the presence of your shaykhs. And with the presence of your shaykhs, they were inspired now because your concept of madad became your safety. So they lived and were saved by their teachings. It's not a philosophy for them. They went into their seclusions, they went into their grave and their difficulty, and they were thrown into it without any understanding. But what they did have an understanding was their madad, and as soon as these difficulties began, horrific difficulties of the grave, all they could remember was go back into your madad, 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 and bring the presence of the shaykh, so the shaykh can begin to teach you how to resolve this issue. Make these salawats, make your breathing, make like this. And this is then the life of the grave has already been real for them. That's why when others talk about it, it's like you listen and say, what the heck is this guy talking about? He's talking about something he read from a book or he saw the grave. Say, nobody came from death and came back. Say, many people do, you're bozo. What are you talking about nobody came from death and came back? Maut qabla al-maut. Prophet describes Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq said this companion has death before death. So he didn't go from death and came back? Maut qabla al-maut, he died before he's died. So no, this is not true. They say nobody went to death and he came back. So many went to death and came back, but you just don't accept them. And as a result, they were trained on what the difficulty of death will be, what the difficulty of their grave will be, and its resolution. And how to resolve those difficulties was one then very strong in their madad and the concept of madad. Pull yourself out and bring the presence of those whom have an authority. InshaAllah.
Alhamdulillah, Sayyidi, someone had just asked before you spoke, can we make salawats in the grave after death?
You bet. That's why I said this system, as you're learning from us, they'll start to test you. Your test will come in dreams. You know that our life is like a fireman. Do you know when the fire bell goes off, the men are trained to take their state from sleep, jump straight into their pants and shoes. Their pants are put in a way where there's two shoes already there. From their bed they jump right into their shoes, pants, and out the door. Because the amount of time they take from their bed to the car, people are dead already. And that's their whole life training is a conditioning. How quick you're going to get in the car, because that could be 2-3 people dead by the time you get there, taking your time driving and putting clothes on, shaving it. So our life is about a training and conditioning. If you come to the tariqah, pay attention to the dreams of attacks, because they're going to start giving you dreams of attack. You're coming under attack, you're being invaded, you're going to have many different attacks. They're coming from the backyard, they're coming from the front door, they're coming from every direction. And you see how you respond. If every time you respond that you're going to fight the attack, you're wrong. Because then it's, oh Shaykh, I pulled out a knife and it became plastic. I pulled out a sword and nothing was working when I was trying to say it, because the concept is wrong. Nothing is going to help you except your madad. So anything that happens in life, immediately madad, that the shaykhs are present with you and that they have to relieve you of this difficulty with you. That your life is not about you resolving things, but your life was to leave yourself and bring their madad into your existence. And then you'll see those dreams begin to intensify until they can take you into actual battles, where the servant goes with them into different battles, inshaAllah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidi.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, is it as a result of one ocean that in meditation one sees images of other awliya, although they never thought about them before?
No, it's about trying to keep a focus. So many things will come if there's no discipline in the focus. So it's not only see awliya, you'll see everything. I see this jubba, I see this holy place, I see this maqam, because the desire in the nafs within the tafakkur is still strong, and it's trying to take control of your tafakkur. Let's go here. Oh, let's go there. Oh, let's go sightseeing here. Let's go get a jumpa here. Oh, I just got saw this here. And then they start to pursue their what we call the world of illusion and delusion. So they close their eyes and they become delusional because their nafs now took control of this science and start taking them here. I saw here, I achieved this, I got this. So that's why the discipline of the tafakkur is I contemplate with my shaykh, and I ask to be in the dress of my shaykh, in the presence of my shaykh, and nothing else. And I want to breathe in an ocean of power, and I want to be annihilated. So there should be no other vision of anyone. But when you're writing it like you're going on a tour, and I say, oh, who's in here and what's over there? Oh, look at this over there, I'll go over there. Or I see this face, well, who's that face? Who's that face over there? Okay, let me go over here. And then it become now the sort of illusional world, where the nafs is playing with the servant to start to drift in different locations. If we teach you then meditate, connect with the shaykh, you're in the presence of the shaykh, ya Rosa Sharif, then all you're doing is put your head down and look for the foot of Prophet beatific sandal, and say, my face belongs here, that's it. And you control, don't go left, don't go right, don't go delusional. And that's the thing. So very dangerous if your nafs enters. That's why mentally unwell people should not meditate, and they have a tendency to be attracted to spiritual paths because they feel that spirituality will validate their delusions. Very dangerous, very bad. Alright, because they're already delusional, they already say very bizarre things, but they feel that maybe spiritual path will validate some of their bizarre things. So remember we'd have events and said, oh, that was amazing, Shaykh, your talk was amazing. Do you know the ship is coming over next week? That ship is going to land and we all have to go onto the ship. I don't know what you're talking about, what ship you're talking about. So to control ourselves, then that's why the coordinates are very specific. Connect with the shaykh, annihilate yourself, there's nothing, I just want to be with the shaykh, an ocean of power, no images, no sightseeing, I just want to reach an ocean of power. You start to get bored and want to go here because nafs is now getting involved. This is boring, I don't want power because the power is going to burn him. Let's pretend like we're seeing things and going here and achieving things, and that becomes the annihilation within my annihilation. The Imam Ali salam recommended that annihilate yourself in your annihilation. That's why we said reach to an ocean of power and nothing else, inshaAllah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidi.
Alaikum salam.
Sayyidi, what can we do during Ramadan for our parents who have passed away?
Good deeds. So all the charity works, make wells. That we have many comments that people actually made wells for parents that were not Muslim, and they received the benefit and barakah and light and blessings. And they saw their parents in difficulty, they made a well. They saw their parents in goodness, because we're saying these charities are in the name of Ahlul Bayt. These are all in the name of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his awliyaullah, his khulafai rashidin al-mahdiin, his Ahlul Bayt. So it means anything that you do through the tariqah is reaching to the hand of the shaykh, and whose hand is on the shaykh is the hand of Prophet ﷺ. So you guess and you give here, you give there for what? Give to the hand of Prophet ﷺ. If you know a hand of Prophet ﷺ upon this earth, then give to him. If you don't know a hand of Sayyidina Muhammad ﷺ on this earth, then search for one. And if you find one, anything you do with them, then what's the hadith that we've been teaching? Allah described on the eyes in which they see. So Prophet ﷺ is, I'm the eyes in which he sees, I'm the ears in which he hears, I'm the tongue in which he speaks, I'm the hands in which he touches, and the feet in which he moves. So much so he is Rabbaniyun, and he has power of kun fayakun. Well, that's a description of these ashiqeen, that their hands, Prophet ﷺ hand is upon them. So when you put something into their hand is as if you put it into the hand of Sayyidina Muhammad. And that's why Allah's ni'mat and barakah in this dunya is for people say, oh, I wish I could draw near to Prophet. Well, you can, but do you have eyes to see and ears to hear? So yes, anything that we do in that way, of course it's going to bring blessings to the family. You support a masjid, support the zawiyah, make wells, give out food, do whatever to the ability that you have, spread knowledges. So one of the greatest was the spreading of knowledge. So that's what we say, it's as easy as put your two thumbs and start sharing articles. If you look on our Facebook and social media pages, you should be amazed at how these guys are making these amazing artworks and taking from the AI, putting snapshots together, putting it out, reaching thousands of people, even hundreds of thousands of people. 300,000 you got now on TikTok from Nazm. We have 12 million views on TikTok with what, 200-300 Muhammadan Way accounts. With the real Muhammadan Way step up, alhamdulillah, all there. Maybe aggravating TikTok, but yeah.
As-salamu alaykum, Sayyidi.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Speaking of technology, how to overcome addiction to technology, smartphones, and reliance upon these technologies, given what you have said to us about jinns, ifrits, and portals and frequencies?
Yeah, that's what we told the other people the other time when we put out these videos and they started attacking. Oh, you have a phone yourself and you're telling us about the phone. Yes, of course we have to tell you about the dangers of a phone. If you have a car, somebody told you that the car is dangerous if you drive it fast. So how do you use what Allah gave you to the benefit of your deen, not so that it's accountable for your deen, right? So you have money in your pocket, no difference. You put that money in a liquor store, you're going to be punished in the grave. You put that money in a well, you're going to be rewarded in your grave. So in our life is how are we going to use what Allah gave to us? So that's our responsibility. If Allah gave us a phone, at least for a few hours, start making comments. You know, our guys who do service, how many hours does it take for you to make comments on all the comments on YouTube? I was doing that for hours. You know, I had for hours to make comments on comments on comments on the comments. So somebody has to sit there, but as your eyes become weak, as you become older, then more people have to help just to make the comments, just to make the hearts and everything. But you spend hours on the phone. How many hours it takes to answer people's emails? How many hours does it take to, you know, every well that comes in has to come through us. I have to look at the dedication, then I send it to Pakistan. Who's going to do that? Who's going to go through our feed and do that? Who gave their Qurban? Then I'm going to delegate it to India, to Kenya, to Nigeria. So all night long sitting and making this copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. So this is a life of khidmat and service. So everyone can do that. Use the satanic device for Rahman. And as a result, great things can be accomplished. Look how our articles are blanketing, you know, that social media site. So much so they can't stand our stuff and they keep asking, do you want to see less of this guy? Yeah. So this is our life. We are responsible for everything Allah gave us. From the money in your pocket to the keys in your pocket to the phone in your pocket. How are you going to use them? It's not that if we train you the dangers and you say, oh, you people are hypocrites, you all have phones. Well, you have cars and cash too. It doesn't mean we're going to spend it in the wrong way. Our responsibility is to tell you how to weaponize this against shaitan. Use it as a weapon against shaitan. So Allah will be happy with you. Say, okay, good, Rafarin. You know, shaitan got you for a few hours and you got him back for another few hours and go to sleep now. It doesn't mean you have to beat him in every night, but some nights you can fight good and the other nights, yeah, he may win a couple of fights.
Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidi.
Oh, wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, our value determined by our love for the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And if love is a gift, can it also be developed or acquired?
I can hear.
On.
Did they hear online? No, nobody heard it. He was talking to himself. Isn't the speaker on?
Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidi.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Sayyidi, when our value determined by our love for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam,
جنسيتك بعشقه. Huh? Speak Urdu.
and if love is a gift, can it also be developed or acquired?
If love is a gift, can it be developed? Sure. Can it be acquired? Everything's acquired. I don't know what the thought is behind that, but be instead of making this philosophy course, it's very simple. That your value is not your cash. Your value is not that you have a degree, right? So the dunya, let's go to dunya, and we are in the law of opposites. This material world, material, says we value you based on your materials. You know, are you educated, not educated? We don't want to talk to you. You have a job, career, businesses? No, we don't want to talk to you. So the dunya values based on material issues. And people think even the divine will be like that. And these not are a reminder, the salawats are a reminder that no, actually your gents is not the merchandise you've acquired in your warehouse and in your home and in your garages. Your real gents to Allah Azza your value, your goods, your commodity is the love of Prophet ﷺ. How much did you nurture that love? How much did you develop it? And it doesn't have to be a gift, you can make it by your salawats. The gift is that Allah allowed you to hear this talk. Otherwise, you would be in a club somewhere and never think of this. That was the gift when Allah guided a servant. Watch that YouTube. But look at that click that came in. That's what we said. All the people sending articles, only most likely on the day you take your last breath, you'll know what you did in life. That the angels will bring your account, because Allah even the grain under a mustard seed is being accounted for. The servant won't know until they enter the grave. Did you know how many people came to guidance through what you posted? Would you know that? You'd never know that. How many people came through this, that what you gave? How many people came through belief that you passed by them, you gave them water? At that time they were thinking to harm themselves and God forgot them. But as soon as you gave the water, it was a sign for them. God has not forgotten them. How many of these things we know? We don't know. But Allah says everyone will understand in the grave what they have done. If they did good, Allah wants them to know all the good they have done. Not now, because if you know now, then you become arrogant. Oh, I've done so many good things, I don't have to do anything anymore. But that's when the hisab and the account comes for the servant, that all these good things that we're being inspired to do, we're going to need that in the grave. So this is a ni'mat and a gift from Allah to even hear that, so my value in divine is how much I love Prophet. Yeah. Because look at these guys, they became hafiz, they memorize this, they memorize that, and they go to a park and yell and argue with everyone. Rubbish, complete garbage. They have absolutely no value. That has absolutely no value in Divine Presence. And the value of a person from the teachings of awliya was how much they love Sayyidina Muhammad. Why? Because this is the power of 9. You know the power of 9 in math? 9 they say is a miraculous number. So our people go back and research, meditate and get some questions on 9. Right? 9, anything you multiply by 9, what happens?
Comes back to 9.
Makes it a 9. This is the king of Sultan. Multiply 9 by 3, 27, 2 and 7, because it renders anything that comes to it. Multiplication in spirituality is a fana. When you want to bring out some reality, you have to multiply it by something. What is the reality of the three? Well, we won't know until it's multiplied by 9. If you multiply by a different number, it becomes something else. But if you make yourself and your fana to be in a Muhammadan haqqaiq, He's going to make you Muhammadiyun. This is the secret of Muhammadan Rasulullah, not anything else. The shaykhs are the Muhammadan representative, right? They don't say, come to me and stay with me. They say, come to me to the love of Prophet. It's not merely a door that you have to enter in your tafakkur and go to the boss, go to the sultan. If you go enough times to the presence of the sultan, he take you as a 3, make you a 27 and render you back as a 9. So any person, reality comes into the fusion and the multiplication of Prophet upon them, he will render them back to a Muhammadiyun. So this is immense. And we said then the 9 also is a Nukht. Means why? Because he's Abdullah, the king of being Nukht, the king of the binary code, right? Because the only one who can go in the presence of one is who? The one whom is a Nukht. If everyone became a little Nukht, slightly little Nukht, maybe a Nukht, is not the same as the one whom is the king of Nukht. And that's why Prophet was the king of humility, showed nothing. And as a result, Allah this is the sultanate of my Nukht. So if you come towards His presence, He will annihilate you and make you to be Muhammadiyun, inshaAllah. This is the whole benefit of everything, inshaAllah.
Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidi.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Can you please expand on that a blind man can't have taqwa?
How to explain? That if you're blind, you can't have taqwa. How can you have a fear, a consciousness? It was pretty clear that you can't have a consciousness of Allah. You don't see anything, you don't feel anything. So we first described who are the conscious servants of Allah, that in their fights, in their struggles, in their way, in their tariqah, through all their difficulties, how much they went through difficulty just for their heart to open. When they have a chain of razor blades around them, if they make a mistake, they do something intentionally with badness and bad character and they continue it, what happens? Maulana Shah Naqshband, what the Salawsi was immense. These are huge, you can't even imagine the size of the reality. He stepped with the wrong foot into the washroom. He said for 15 days he was unable to use the facility and caused immense pain. He broke a sunnah. These are huge, Shaykh. No, everybody else breaking sunnahs left and right. This is not an example to stare at me and say it, but these huge shaykhs, they have such a love and such a what they hold of a reality of Prophet ﷺ, the breaking of one sunnah was causing them immense and horrific difficulty. Abu Yazid al-Bistami Qaddasallahu Siru was walking and something got his attention and a woman was inappropriately dressed. At the time that he looked, turned his eyes back, went home and pulled his eye out of his fear that Allah would punish him because his eye went inappropriately. Because what Allah made his eyes to be holding, we don't understand that reality. So these are again huge awliya. When Allah gave them abilities and what they're custodians of what reality, the fear they had that Allah is now going to punish them and they're going to lose their station, they're going to lose whatever gift Allah gave to them. Those are the servants of taqwa. Now anybody look anywhere left and right, do you think anyone pulling their eyes out? No. So imagine then somebody who has no training, and they just use these titles like a conversation at the masjid. Oh, I have taqwa, brother, he has taqwa. He even has taqwa meat, yeah. Because their meat company is called taqwa. So yeah, you might have a taqwa meat company, but you don't have taqwa. That's easier to form a corporation, but to get Allah's stamp is not going to be something easy. So it's common sense. Those servants are our sheikhs. So our sheikhs laid the foundation is have a fear. When Allah begin to open for you to your level, because you're not at our level, that's them talking to us, because they're huge, huge, huge ships of this reality. Be conscious of what Allah has offered to you, given to you, don't lose it. And they live in and die by it, and then they think it'd be better for them to be dead on this earth than to lose those gifts and the nearness and the gift that Allah has given to them. Now somebody has nothing, you think that they care about anything? No. So it's a common sense again. It's not any type of difficult reality, common sense. You don't see, not really taqwa. You can try to be moving towards taqwa, alhamdulillah, that's a good thing. But if Allah hasn't opened things, then true consciousness has not yet opened, inshaAllah. But if they start to open, you better be scared to death to lose it.
Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidi.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Can reciting Durood Sharif change what is written in our destiny?
Sure. Hearing this talk will change your destiny. If all day long you went to the bank, you went to work, you had a taco, and this was your daily routine in 10 days of your life, that's your destiny. Allah with one talk, say, go sit and listen to this person with a Muhammadan Haqaiq. You sat down there and now you heard one of these Muhammadan Haqaiq. The angels are writing now in your book what you heard. That he sat, he heard, blah, 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 blah. Your book completely changed. They said, wow, that's a big difference than taco and work and these actions. This is something we never imagined that would be in his book. But by virtue of being in your book, even the angels have to change, because those are not the angels that write these realities. That's why then they inspire, write it, provide an action so we can begin to change what's going around you. And as soon as you say, no, I'm going to be custodian of Muhammadan Haqaiqs, you start to write, Allah will now send different angels, because they have to be very high level Muhammadan angels, that they come now because this servant is going to be a custodian of Muhammadan Haqaiqs upon this earth, this dirty earth. So even the angels change. If the angels change, means now the rizq to your soul, everything has to change. So then Sayyidina Mikaeel salam, what is happening? Sayyidina Jibraeel, now knowledges are coming to you, now your lights are changing. Sayyidina Mikaeel salam is coming to you, because rizq is under the hand of Sayyidina Mikaeel salam. First to your soul, that the rizq of your soul is, oh, these are Muhammadan Haqaiqs, these are now paradise rizq coming onto this servant's soul. As a result of that rizq, all the physical rizq changes. So yeah, of course, with one kalam from their mouth they can change the entire destiny of somebody. But this is by bi'idhnillah, this is by permission of Allah, because they can't listen without Allah's writing it, right? Because you can tell people all day long, I have a flyer, come to this talk, come to this lecture, come to this zikr, they're never going to come. But if Allah wants, means Allah wanted the servant to change, their destiny to change. So it's all by permission of Allah, it's not countering and you know, not what Allah wanted. Allah has to want the servant. That's why we speak all the time and people say, oh Shaykh, you should have like hundreds of thousands of views, but Allah hasn't written that. Allah wrote for, you know, this amount of people to hear that Haqaiq, because it's a star on a dark night. We're not supposed to make the sky like a sunshine, but it's a zulum with only a little bit of light to guide people, inshaAllah.
Sayyidi, this question comes from email. Assalamu alaikum, Sayyidi.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
If our actions fall short in demonstrating our love for Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, what are the most effective methods to deepen this love?
Salawat and Durood al-Sharif make your faith become alive. Make your salawat, make your durood, give food and water for the sake of the love of Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Follow, listen to the Shaykh, write down the knowledges. If you're hearing these knowledges and you have a love for Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, don't let it fall to the floor. The knowledge came and you did nothing with it, you didn't listen to it, you didn't write it, you're not a custodian of its knowledge, you let it to hit to the floor. So the companions, they didn't let anything from Prophet ﷺ, not even his holy saliva, to touch the ground. And if he talked and said something, that we gave many times the story of Abu Darda and the companions. The Prophet ﷺ would ask something, give an example of something, and then the companions were fearful, is anyone going to act on this? And immediately they would act on it because of their love, that we don't want the ihtiram of Prophet ﷺ telling us something and nobody doing it. That to free this boy by this tree and nobody's saying anything, immediately the companions jumped in. We said, we'll buy the whole garden for this. Is whatever Prophet ﷺ was asking, their life was to uphold the reality of its reality. And that was the love and the ishq. So when we're saying, okay, at least when you hear Muhammad and haqqaiqs, write them. Otherwise they say, oh, you spent 20 years with this person listening to me, you don't understand anything, tell us what he said. And you talk gibberish from your mouth because you don't really remember what he said, you're just making up things left and right. That's not a Muhammad and haqqaiq. So that was a wasted life and a wasted time. So at least be a custodian where we have books from our shaykhs. Everything they were teaching, this was our books. When I wrote those books, then they became my books on my soul. And that was my responsibility, to be a custodian of its haqqaiq, and I wanted to be a custodian of its haqqaiqs. So these are the ihtiram and the respect that we show for the love of Prophet ﷺ. And it's in everything, it shows in everything we do. InshaAllah. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifoon wa salaamun al mursaleen walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati Muhammad al Mustafa bassir Surat al Fatiha. Shafad ya Rasul Kareem. Alhamdulillah, very good questions. And shall we see everybody tomorrow night, same place. Allah Azza wa Jalla bless you, dress you, and forgive me, inshaAllah. As-salamu alaykum. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Shaykh Nurjan. Thank you for watching the video that you're watching. InshaAllah, if you're happy with the content and happy with these programs, please support the button below, the programs that we have for our orphanage repairs, our water well, Give the Gift of Life, our mobile food vans. We have now 5 vans: Vancouver, Chicago, Los Angeles, Pakistan. There's many programs that reach thousands of people and rescue foods and give those supplies to people in need. Your support is greatly appreciated. Also, be so kind as to leave loving comments, and please share the stream. Every bit counts. As-salamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.